Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Alex at LifeSprout Chiropractic, and tonight we are going to be talking about the Law of Chiro Attraction. And if you're wondering what that is, well, we're going to be giving you the formula to attract health, have health, and just be a healthy person. So here, I'll give you the definition. The Law of Chiro Attraction is the law that brings you and your health in potentially all It's the law that brings you health in potentially all aspects of your life. If you work on all of the ingredients that make up the formula, there's absolutely no way your life won't improve. Your health is arguably one of the most important aspects of you, if not the most. I would argue it's the most important, but it's definitely, it's up there. When you're in good health, you're able to experience life to the fullest. And you want to make goals for yourself in all the areas of the formula, which I'm about to share with you, and watch how you can thrive. And so before we jump into this, and I'll go ahead and tell you, there's 5 pieces to the formula for phenomenal health. And I remember the one time in my life when I actually had all 5 of these things going for me was when I was in chiropractic school, believe it or not. And my days looked like a whole lot of class, a lot of times from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., which was exhausting and all the things that is. But inside of that, I was exercising regularly. I ran a marathon while I was in chiropractic school. My eating was the cleanest it's ever been. So exercise is the first thing we're talking about. What you eat is the second thing. I was 100% organic. I didn't eat gluten. I didn't eat dairy. My cheat days were like eating fruit and occasionally some chocolate. And I was the leanest I've ever been and slept the best I've ever been. Sleep is the third thing we're going to talk about. I was surrounded by upbeat, positive people. We were all super excited about what we were doing with our lives. So we were in that environment, which makes all of this easier. It's true, but it's possible to create this. And it's something that I'm taking on this year. So thinking positive and being positive is the 4th thing we're going to talk about. And, I'm surrounded by chiropractors, so I was definitely getting adjusted regularly. And that's the 5th thing that we're going to talk about. And so just to sum up, kind of these 5 things are the things that address every aspect of your health. It's your physical, emotional, and chemical well-being. And so those are also the things that, if they're not in line, create what we call subluxation, which is what I deal with in my practice in correcting, which ultimately leads to disease and things not functioning well. So with that little introduction there, let's go ahead and jump into this. So our first thing, as we said, is exercise. And you don't have to join a gym. You don't have to, get crazy and go do CrossFit, which I might go check out tomorrow. We'll see. But, exercise is important. In our society, we move the least that we ever have. And it's really starting to, we're seeing the impact of that in our kids and in the baby boomer population as they're aging, just the lack of movement that we've started to experience because we're sedentary, we drive everywhere, especially in the United States. It's kind of astounding and a little bit scary. And so some of the benefits of exercise, as if you need to know some, but, weight control, decreased joint pain, improved circulation, your sleep improves, your mood improves. Endorphins really help raise your mood. There's something called the runner's high. Those of you who run or have thought about running, there actually is a high you get off of running just because of the endorphins. So it can be a great thing for your body as well. And you get a decreased risk of disease, whether it's obesity, heart disease, diabetes. Those are like the top 3 killers in our society now, as well as increased longevity. And so here's the thing. Like I said, you don't have to join a gym. You can go for walks. You can park your car farther away at the grocery store. You can take the stairs instead of the elevator if you are in a building where you have that option. You can chase your kid around your house, which I do every day. Go for a swim, go for a bike ride, take a hike, especially these are all summer activities around here. Go cross-country skiing. If you haven't ever done that, go check it out. Go snowshoeing, go ice fishing, just walking in the snow. We were walking for the start of the Yukon Quest out on the river, and I was rather surprised I'd forgotten how hard it is to walk in all your snow gear, and, Fritz was annoyed, and I don't blame him. So those are just some ideas. You can, if you want to get really specific about it, there's these Fitbits around now that are tracking how well you move. There's pedometers. All these things are a great way to track it. I would say don't worry so much about how much you're doing. Just start doing it if you're someone who hasn't been doing it. If you're watching TV, don't have the remote right next to you. If you really want to change the channel, put it somewhere where you have to actually get up and go get it. before you change the channel. All this will get you moving and get you stronger. And so the moral of the story is, if you don't start moving it, you start to lose it. And I'm someone, with a busy business and a 2-year-old and all the things I have going on in my life, I haven't been exercising as much as I used to and as much as I'd like to. And so it started to take its toll on me. I actually ended up getting injured from adjusting people all day because I hadn't been exercising enough and keeping myself strong enough to see the volume of people we see now in the office. And it's not an unattainable amount or anything, just I have to take better care of myself. So I've started both eating well again and exercising regularly, and my energy's up, and I can say from experience, it's awesome. So, I did 5 days last week. That was a lot for me. I'm happy with 4, somewhere between 4 and 6. It's kind of my ideal goal. And so for yourself, you just have to set a goal and make sure it's consistent. It's something that you can actually do all the time. And here's some more stuff I talked about already, but you want to be consistent, and all of these things you'll start to see improve. If you're someone who has trouble sleeping, exercise. It's a great way to help that get better. All right. So we're going to shift gears. You are what you eat. How many of you have heard that saying before? And we have a kid with a piece of white bread there, which I'm not going to offend anyone, I hope, but don't eat any white bread ever, and don't let your kids either. So if you think about a car, a lot of us, especially up here in Alaska with our big trucks and all that stuff, we're pretty particular about the things that go into that car, right? Because if you put crummy oil or bad gas into the car, it's going to let you know it's not going to last as long. Your check engine light's going to come on and all this stuff. Well, your body is a machine just like a car, not that it's man-made. It's, made by God or whatever source you want to give it. And just like we need to take care of our cars, you got to take care of your body. And a lot of that is the fuel that you're giving yourself, the fuel that you're giving your kids. We are inundated with a lot of highly processed foods and things on the shelves of our grocery store. And most people, the average American, is no longer consuming unprocessed food. It's always, something that's pre-made for them. So you really want to be paying attention to what you're eating. And your body instinctively knows what it needs and what is good for it. If you've been eating a lot of sugar and a lot of junk, it's going to crave those things. But if you're not eating those things, listen to what your body tells you. And you want to go for things, you want to go for real food. It's one of the things we're going to talk about. You don't want it to be coming out of a box that has a long list of ingredients that include things like high fructose corn syrup and red dye 40 or sodium nitrate. Salmon is just salmon. Broccoli is just broccoli. We're fortunate up here in Alaska. We have access to things like moose and salmon. So utilize those, wild game, all of that stuff. Blueberries in the summer, you don't have to pay for it. You just have to go pick it and, hopefully get enough to last for a while. But you want to first be choosing real food products. Some other tips on eating well: if you're not really hungry, don't eat. You want to chew slowly. The more slowly you chew, it's a lot easier for your body to tell when it's full, because the enzymes and things that are sensing all of that and telling your stomach what to think have time to actually catch up. So especially with meat, you want to really stop and chew and be really slow about it. You don't want to sit in front of a TV or be distracted when you're eating. You want to be able to pay attention to what you're eating. I'll also throw out there, you don't want to drink water during the meal. You should consume it before, like 5 minutes before you eat, and then not have any water while you're eating, because that gives your stomach the easiest way to tell when it's actually full or not. Otherwise, it can mess up the signal that tells your body whether or not you're full. You want to eat several times a day. I have breakfast. I'm following a pretty strict detox right now, trying to get back to my old eating habits. And so currently I have a protein shake smoothie for breakfast with some fruit and some coconut milk and some other things in there. I'll have a snack. I eat nuts. I like almonds and raisins in between, or I'll eat some raw organic grass-fed cheese, just a couple pieces. And this is another thing. You don't want to be afraid of fats. Fats actually help you stay and feel full longer, because it takes the body longer to burn them. So fats are a really good thing to put in there. And so I'll have a snack, and then I'll have my lunch, which is usually a soup or a salad or something, another snack in the mid-afternoon as I'm adjusting, and then I'll have dinner at night, and it'll be protein and some vegetables. I'm doing a straight paleo thing right now, so that's not for everybody. I think it's great. The more that you're off grains, or at least trying being off grains, if you've never done it, I highly recommend to anyone, because I have not had anyone not find great things out of being off of grains for a little while. And then the last thing with this is, we all cave in. I snuck a piece of dark chocolate today. It's not on my list of things that I am supposed to be eating right now, but it was one piece instead of like 6, which is what it was before I was doing this. So, you don't want to beat yourself up if you make that bad choice, or, don't feel like you have to start all over or all is lost and you might as well just give up and not do this. We're all going to fail and struggle. Sugar is actually the worst addiction in our culture right now. And so if you're in that cycle, it's really hard to break, and, you may have lapses, and that's okay. But as long as you're striving towards making changes, improving what's in your kitchen, choosing those real foods, it does mean cooking more, but a lot of times it's fun. I've found, to find new recipes and do things and make some of the things that you love, but you actually make it from scratch. Like I made sesame chicken with coconut flour and some other stuff the other night. And, I need some work on my recipe and how I did it, because I got impatient, but doing stuff like that, you can have the stuff you still love, but just get creative with the ingredients that you put in. So it's much, much better for you. And trust me, you will feel loads better. I've had much more energy the last 3 weeks that I've been doing this. I'm feeling leaner again. I'm not as hungry all the time, and my exercise has improved. I've had more energy with that as well. So it's really great. So that was number 2. Eating. And a lot of this stuff, you've probably heard it before. I'm sure I've talked about it before. We have some webinars that I did that went into more depth with all of these things. So you're welcome to look at those. This is kind of hey, we got into the new year. Most of us make health goals somewhere in the new year, or it's one of our New Year's resolutions, or whatever you want to call it. And February is kind of the time where you maybe did good in January and you start to lose motivation. And then by the time we get to March, I think only a quarter of the people who had that resolution are actually following through on it. So I wanted to give you kind of a introduction to let's really go after health and keep health, and, keep people motivated going towards this, because I finally found my motivation again this year, and I hope that others will as well. So moving on, we're moving to our third thing. And this is the one that, and again, I keep forgetting what slides I have in here, but good fats, avocados, nuts, cheese, 3 to 5 small meals a day. And don't be distracted while you're eating. You don't want to read. You don't want to be in front of the TV. Really make it, if you have a family, make it family time where you're all, talking about your day and really being mindful of what you're eating together. Now, on to the third thing. And this is the one aspect that I still struggle with, largely because I'm the mother of a small child. And I know many of you who come to see me and are probably watching this are also mothers or fathers, and, have small children running around your house and not sleeping at night. And so sleep is very important. And depending on the research you read, most say you really want to aim for somewhere around 8 hours of sleep at night. Some people need 10, some people are okay on 6. But somewhere in that range, you really want to be making sure that you have a good bedtime routine and that it's not varying too much. If you go to bed at the same time every night and get up at the same time every day, it's better for your body, and whether you're working or not or doing any of that stuff. And sure, all of us, if we have a Saturday morning off, we like to sleep in a little bit. That's okay. Just don't make it so extreme or stay up so late that you're totally shifting your whole schedule off as you're going into the next week. And the reason is sleep, it helps with memory, it helps with brain function, it helps with your mood, it helps muscle repair and strength, and it helps with longevity. So it can be hard, but really making it a priority. Another big thing with this is staying away from screens. I'm the queen right now of reading books on a Kindle app on my phone. Terrible idea. And I keep staying up far too late because of it. And many of you have mentioned I look tired, and I'll just be perfectly honest. It's because I'm staying up reading books on my Kindle app. Same thing with TV. You want to try to shut down the screens, the TV, at least an hour before you go to sleep, if not 2. And with kiddos as well, Fritz my son, often is watching TV far too late. And so he ends up staying up later and later. And whether it's on or not, he tends to stay up late anyways. But you really want to make an effort to, as a family, disengage from that aspect of distracting your brain and keeping your brain awake at night. And if all else fails, count those sheep. Apparently it works for some people. singing songs, all of that stuff. Those are ideas to help you sleep. There's things you can take like Calm, which is a powder you mix in a drink, and it has magnesium in it. Just helps everything kind of calm and settle down for the evening. There's also ashwagandha tea, which helps a lot, chamomile tea. All of those are, if you're struggling, all of those are natural things that can help with getting the sleep that you need. And then it would, help the small children would actually sleep through the night, but maybe someday, right? We can all hope. So moving on. That was my positive thinking about small children, if anyone was wondering. So this can be another hard one. And depending on the people in your life, I think some of you have heard me talk about kind of creating a hierarchy of, this is going to sound terrible, but it's for a purpose. Kind of ranking your friends based on, or the people you're around every day, the people in your life, on whether they're someone who lifts you up and makes you want to strive to be a better person. Those are what we would call giants, and they should get a point. There's people who you like being around, but they don't really inspire you all that much. They're just kind of fun to be around, and those people would get a 0 next to their name. And then there's the people that I call the vampires, who suck out all your energy, and it's just so draining on you to be around them, and makes you kind of pull down your energy and be in a negative place. And those vampires, so you can have categories, giant, neutral, vampire. And you want to, it's a good idea. So ideally, you'll have more of the giants, the people whose shoulders you can stand on throughout the day. And hopefully you can be a giant to people, but you want to strive to have positive thoughts all the day. So, if we have over 60,000 thoughts per day, how many of yours are positive and encouraging and uplifting, and how many are kind of and how many are the angry, like nothing can go right in the world kind of thoughts. So it actually affects your health. I don't know if many of you realize if you're always angry and kind of that grouchy person, it can start to affect your health. It affects your nervous system. It affects, when you get mad, if you kind of pay attention to your body language, you tend to close down and close in. It can get harder to breathe, and you're just kind of tightly wound all the time. And so when you think positively, the opposite happens. You're more relaxed, you're enjoying your day, and you want to be optimistic about things. Start thinking about what you actually want. If it's perfect health, focus on that and send your body some love and kindness. This is another thing you have to think positively about yourself, moms and women out there listening to this, and guys too. I think it's run stronger, and moms, especially with me, we can be really self-critical of our body and our body image sometimes. So you want to avoid that. And so if all you can think about is something you don't want, that's okay. Just try to turn it into the opposite. So make it about what you do want. Like, I want this, not this. Think positively about your day. If you're going to have a crazy hectic day, try to find some good in it. Like, this is going to be awesome. I think there's a great YouTube video of a 3-year-old girl giving herself a daily affirmation. And I'll post it on our Facebook page when I'm done with this. But, she's just so excited about the day, and she loves her dad and her mom and her little sister. And it's just, if we all went out into the world like that every day, I think the world would be a much different place. I'm just going to leave it at that. And, there's always a good side to everything, whether or not you see it at the time. And so trying to just, do whatever you need to do. Maybe if you have a rough time driving to work in the morning, maybe you need to spend 5 minutes outside and just clear your head, play your favorite song, punch a punching bag, bang the wheel of your car, honk your horn, whatever, just not add anybody. But, whatever you need to do to kind of get that negative energy out, and then let the positive energy saturate your mind and be there instead. It enlightens the experience for everyone around you as well as for you yourself. And I think that's all I had to say. And so you can also think positively, if listening to all this, you're like, okay, I'm taking on all 5 of these aspects. It can be a little overwhelming at times. And, having some goals and things that can help you avoid and relieve stress within this plan. So, you don't want trying to get healthy to be stressful. You want it to be something enjoyable and enlivening, and something that really brings you to the next level of health. That's our goal here. So think positive. that's what I've got to say about those things. And here we are. We're already to our fifth thing. This is me adjusting Fritz when he was about 7 months old. It's been a long time. It's almost over 2 years ago now. So here's the last thing that can really help with bringing you overall health and function. And, everybody usually comes in to me with a complaint or a problem. I see babies, and I occasionally have babies who don't have a complaint or a problem, but even the babies come in with a complaint or a problem usually, and that's okay. But there's a lot more to chiropractic in that it's about your overall health and well-being, because what I'm doing when I adjust your spine is I'm looking for something that we call subluxation, and that's just where the bone goes slightly out of place and it impacts the communication from the brain to wherever the nerve that's coming out from wherever that bone's out of place goes. It can be your heart, it can be your lungs, it can be your kidneys, it can be your small intestines. I've had a lot of intestinal stuff in here recently. It can be your brain even. And so that communication gets off a little bit. It's kind of like wrapping a rubber band around the nerve root. And, if you held a rubber band on your finger for a little while, your finger would kind of start going in and out and the blood flow wouldn't really be there. And then if you left that on forever, eventually the tip of your finger is going to die. I'm just going to put it out there. So I'm basically removing those little rubber bands where stress, and both internal and external stress, has created what we call subluxation. And so if you're following everything that we've talked about, you're moving and exercising, you're putting good things in your body instead of bad things, you're thinking positively, you're sleeping, then you shouldn't be getting subluxated, but it still can happen. And so, especially if you haven't been doing all of those things, every crummy thing we eat, every day we spend sitting in front of the TV instead of getting up and moving, every negative thought we have, all of these things directly impacts your body and can create what we call subluxation. So if you haven't ever been adjusted, or it's been a while since you've been checked, it's worthwhile to come in and just check in and see how you're doing. Today, I had someone in here and I explained it kind of, and this is similar, it's like going to the dentist to get a cleaning. You want to make sure that you go to make sure your teeth are all healthy and good and there's no disease or decay in there, right? This is the same thing with coming in to get adjusted. You're making sure your nervous system is functioning well because your spine is healthy and good and moving and doing all the things that it's supposed to do, being supported. These are all the things that we check when you come into the office. And that you're not having any symptoms. You're not having headaches. You're not having back pain or asthma or colic or, not sleeping well, ADHD. All of these things can be a result of the nervous system being off because of lifestyle choices that aren't necessarily the healthiest. And so with that, we come to the end. So that was my very kind of brief, throw lots of information at you on the 5 ways, the 5 really, I'll call them the pillars of health. And again, it's exercise, it's what you eat, it's sleeping enough, it's thinking positively about your day, and getting adjusted, or at least getting your nervous system checked if it has never been checked. So I'd love to hear feedback from people. This is up on the Facebook page. So, after you watch this and think about it, I'd love to hear feedback. What's the area you struggle with the most in your life? What do you hope to change or, improve on this year? And kind of what are some of your goals that you really want to achieve? I'd love to hear that. And I'll write under there and share some of mine. One of my big ones is I really want to get back into running. I finally don't have hip pain anymore. And so, I haven't really run a whole lot since I ran a marathon, and I haven't run fast or really enjoyed it. And I'd love to get back to that, at least doing a half marathon this year, if not actually trying to do a full one again. So, that's one of my big goals. And then just having more energy and being more active outside of the practice, but also within my office, being able to physically handle the volume that we've been seeing would be great, So with that, I thank you for tuning in and watching this. And, you took the first step in taking on getting healthy this year if you actually made it through this whole thing and are excited and ready to take it on. And if that's one of you, I'd love to hear your goals, or if you have someone, a support group or something that you can share some of this stuff with, that's awesome as well. And really, it's just, we're here for you. This is our slogan, is to let our family take care of yours. And I really mean that. You guys can email me at dralex@lifesproutchiro.com. Or you can reach out to us on Facebook. We're usually pretty active on there because, it's a generational thing. But thank you again for being here. And Get in touch with us if you need, and good luck. I hope everybody enjoys taking on getting healthy this year. All right, good night, everyone.